The 1989 Toyota Chaser Avante is a perfect car for someone looking for a simple Sunday cruiser. Not over the top like an Evo or a Skyline, not underpowered like a key car, and interesting enough to have people asking what the hell it is. Okay, elephant in the room. This is a Toyota Chaser. Before you click on the thumbnail and yell at me about the nose being that of a Mark II, the owner bought the car like this. The previous owner thought the Mark II nose fit the Chaser body better and grafted together what you see here today. So yeah, much like my Mercury Marauder video where said car had a Crown Vic grille due to a bird strike, sometimes cars end up with different noses and grills over the course of 20-30 years. Anyways, that out of the way, onto the video itself. The Toyota Chaser was one of Toyota's home market triplet sedans, essentially rebadges of the same car, but each offering their own flavor. The Mark II was sort of the general base car, the Cresta was the luxury-themed car, and the Chaser was the sporty one. Basically, to describe this car, it was the sporty version of the Cressida we got in the United States. Straight six, rear-wheel drive, the Chaser was essentially Toyota's answer to Nissan's rapidly advancing Skyline. While not having the driving and racing credentials of the Skyline, the Chaser is still a damn good little JDM car. Overall, the Chaser sat on top of the triplets hierarchy, and was only sold at the Toyota Auto Store dealers in Japan. The Chaser was originally introduced in 1977 as a complement to the third generation Mark II. Come its second generation in 1980, the Chaser and its siblings grew into the mid-size class of cars. The fourth generation of Chaser was launched in 1988, and had the chassis code X80. There were a variety of engines available with the Chaser this generation, ranging from the base 1.8-liter 4S FE i4 to the famous 2JZ in the last 2 years of production. Trims range from the base XL, XG, Raffine, SXL, Avante, Avante Twin Cam 24, GT Twin Turbo, 2.0 Avante G, and 3.0 Avante G. There was also a diesel available with the XL model. Power is sent through either a 4-speed auto or one of two 5-speed manuals. Power is then sent to the rear wheels via a double wishbone rear suspension. This suspension was shared with the Soarer Grand Tourer. Man, that's a mouthful for a marble-mouthed American like me. And the Thames electronic shocks were available on the top-of-the-line Avante G models. This particular 1989 Chaser is a run-of-the-mill Avante model, and it has the naturally aspirated 1G FE straight 6 hooked to the 4-speed A40D automatic. While the Turbo and Avante Gs are far more sporty and something along the lines of a Skyline competitor, the regular Avante is more of a well-equipped commuter. The gearing in the slush box is long, as it's meant to be more of a frugal car, but the torque band of the straight 6 is silky smooth. This car is at its best cruising around country roads. The suspension is tight and direct, and the straight 6 hums right along at that 45 to 60 mile an hour range. If anything, the steering and braking are what ages this car as an 80s design. Because while not period American car bad, I could definitely feel the slop in the steering and the limitations of the braking. A lot of that could be summed up to this being a unrestored 36-year-old car, and fresh parts and seals could give a lot of confidence back in both, but overall this did feel like an 80s car and not a modern car. Or a Skyline. My lord, that R32 was so damn good. I really want to experience a mid or base level R32 now because the GTS-T was truly the best car I've ever driven on the channel. I need to know, is it just an extreme engineering curve of those cars as you go up in trim and performance? Or do all R32s start from a really good place? And that's why trying to compare the X80 Chaser Avante to the R32 Skyline GTS-T feels like it's failing at the moment. I know these cars were direct competitors at the time, but I feel like I really need to experience a Chaser GT Twin Turbo or Avante G, or a Skyline GTE or GTS, to truly appreciate this comparison better. Anyways, inside, this is a fantastically well-equipped car for 1989. The cloth interior is unique to the Avante, as it was to each trim level of the X80 Chaser, and it just feels excellent. Even with my large American frame, I feel like I'm at home in these front seats. Egress in and out is a little rough, especially for being a 6'3" fat American. Sure, it's lowered a little bit, but I feel like these door openings are small. I almost kind of had to fall and shuffle myself into the front seats. But once there, I was comfy. Rear legroom is good, but man, headroom is not existent. And good lord, the trunk is huge. I mean, the owner Ethan is storing the original fenders on top of other parts and tools in here. Power mirrors were something I wasn't expecting on a 1989 car, let alone a Toyota. There's parking sensors, power everything, multifunction stereo system. I know the head unit has been replaced in this particular car, but just wait. The available temp system on the Avante G, anti-lock brakes on higher trims. Was even a limited slip available with the GT Twin Turbo. Like all bubble-era Japanese manufacturers, Toyota was going ham in the late 80s with their cars, and it shows on the Chaser. It's not even a top-of-the-line Chaser, and it still feels way over-engineered for what it needs to be. I love bubble-era Japanese cars. It was an era of unbridled engineering and pushing the industry forward. Much like what the Korean and Chinese manufacturers are doing with EVs today. Every time I get in one of these cars, I can't help but nerd out. Now, it's obvious that this car isn't some showstopper. It's a driver and tuner car. As a mid-level model, the original importer started to customize it to how he saw fit. That's why he decided to graft a Mark II nose onto this Chaser. Because he felt like the Mark II's wedge shape fit the Chaser's body lines over the Chaser's normal boxier look. When that owner decided he needed to downsize his fleet a few years ago, his neighbor, Ethan, took a hold of it at a decent price and continued the process. It's sitting on Nissan S14 lowering springs, but the rest of the suspension is stock. He does admit that he's over the oversized wheels and tires, as he's currently shopping for tires for smaller wheels that he currently has at his house. It does have an aftermarket head unit, which negated the little radio panel above the HVAC control panel useless. He's currently getting a block-off 3D printed panel for it, which his friend was able to match up to a Cressida's panel. He did have to install an electric fan to assist with cooling, as the factory radiator and fan really struggle in traffic in the harsh North Carolina summer. The electric fan does help keep things cool though. Big time. Other than that, the rest of the car is stock. It's just an old 36-year-old Japanese commuter car, and a dang fun and interesting one at that. While not exactly pretty, it does turn heads as people are generally curious to what exactly it is. I mean, it's pure late 80s Japanese style here, from the pillared hardtop to the all-red interior. There's plenty to talk about with this car. Following the X80, the Chaser would continue for 2 more generations, continuing the straight 6 rear drive formula that made the Chaser great. The X90 generation, introduced for the 1993 model year, introduced all-wheel drive for the first time, and would continue to the final X100 generation. With the end of the X100 in 2001, the Chaser would finally get retired in Toyota's JDM lineup. It would get replaced with the widely styled Verosa. Essentially the same formula as the previous Chaser, the Verosa's wild styling unfortunately would make it a sales failure, and would get the axe after just 3 short model years. Starting in 2004, the Verosa and Mark II's line would converge into one model, the Mark X. That model would switch out the straight 6s for V6s, but would continue to send power to the rear wheels. The Mark X would last for 2 generations before finally setting off into the sunset after the 2019 model year. and then a nearly 40-year run of Toyota's mid-sized rear-drive offerings in their home markets. Overall, the X80 Toyota Chaser is not a Nissan Skyline. But that's okay. Like I mentioned earlier, I think having a larger sample size of Chasers and Skylines might help me formulate an opinion on these cars. This is clearly not a performance model. It's a mid-level highway cruiser. That R32 I tested last year? It was one step below the famous Godzilla GTR. While not a GTR, the GTS-T Skyline was still an incredible performance car for that era. I still think getting to experience in a Chaser Avante G might help me see where this car stacks up against the R32 better, as with experience in a lower level R32 Skyline. But still, an X80 Toyota Chaser is still a fun and interesting bubble-era Japanese sedan. It's certainly a conversation starter wherever it goes. It's not the fastest car in the world, it's not the most advanced, it's not the best handling, and it's not the most luxurious. But it does a lot of that really well. It's like a Goldilocks of 80s Japanese cars per se. 1989 Toyota Chaser Avante. A pretty gosh darn good Sunday driver. Have a good day, everyone. Thank you once again for watching another episode of Wookie Drives. Once again, huge shout out to Ethan of Statesville, North Carolina for letting me drive his JDM daily driver for this show. If you have a car or truck you'd like to see on the show and happen to be in the Charlotte or Mooresville, North Carolina area, email me a submission of your car at wookiedrives@gmail.com. That's right, submit your car to wookiedrives@gmail.com. That's wookiedrives@gmail.com. Don't forget to give the video a like, drop a comment with some feedback. Any interaction with this video really helps small channels like mine grow in the algorithm. Share with all your JDM Bubble Era car friends. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button and hit that bell for notifications for more videos like these. Thank you so much for watching and have a good day.
Chaser! New Chaser 登場。天性のバネ、あのハーダーサスがミシュランを履いた。今高級車もフットワークだ。チェイサーチェイサーチェイサー